2 years ago. Christina Spicuzza, she was a driver. This is her. I made a video about her a long time ago. It involves a gun. If that's not something you want to see, for those of you who are okay with seeing it, that's your warning. Pulls out his gun.
Keep driving.
You've got to be joking.
Keep driving.
What are you doing?
This is a gun. Keep driving.
No, it's not. Stop. Come on, man. I got a family. What are you
I got
doing?
a family too. Now drive.
What are you doing?
Drive.
To where?
Complete the trip.
Why are you doing this?
Complete the trip.
Please?
Once you complete the trip, whether you're doing Lyft or Uber, all of the safety tools that are on the app to help with situations like this disappear.
I'm begging you. I have
You
4
drive the
kids.
car.
What are you
Drive the
doing?
car.
So apparently she completes it.
Please take that off of me. Please.
So he grabs her phone.
No.
Keep driving. Do what I say and everything will be alright.
He then reaches forward for the dash cam, and that's the last we would see. He killed her. They found her body. He's in jail. He's I've been waiting for this court case for a very long time. The justice system, it moves too slow. I've been wanting to cover this for such a long time. And so we do have an update, right? We finally have an update. They got the jury selected or whatever process they had to do. And here's an update, right? The attorney for suspect in Uber slaying tries to block the use of dashcam footage in court, right? Here in South Carolina, I'm allowed to record people as long as one person who's part of that recording agrees. In my car, right, and someone gets into the car, it's me and them. I'm the consenting party. I don't need their permission to record them to use legally, right? It's not like that in every state. And in Pennsylvania, it's a 2-party consent state where both people have to agree to being recorded. So the attorney for Calvin Crew, you know, if you're paid to be someone's attorney, you do what you have to do, right? Nothing against the attorney. I think this is a good tactic by that attorney. So let's see how this played out. Attorney for the Picarian man accused of killing an Uber driver nearly 2 years ago are asking the court to suppress a video evidence from a camera inside the car that captured the moments leading up to the woman's death. Calvin Crew, 24, could face the death penalty if convicted of first-degree murder in connection with February 10th, 2022 shooting of Christina Spicuzza. Allegheny County Common Pleas Judge Edward J. Borowski heard from attorneys that witnessed Monday regarding the potential suppression of evidence from the dashcam video and Crew's police interrogation 4 days later. Oh, I would love to see this interrogation. Borowski took the motions under advisement. The court docket shows that the jury selection in the case is scheduled to begin January 8th. That's today. And I knew it was today, but by the time this show started, there was no update. When I finished reading the story, I'm going to do a quick search to see if there's been any progress with that. Spicuzza, 38 of Turtle Creek, was killed February 10th, 2022 after police said she picked up Crew in Picarian around 9:15 p.m. His girlfriend had requested the Uber service. As Spicuzza neared the drop-off location around 9:30 p.m., police said Crew had pulled out a handgun, grabbed the driver by her hair, and he held the weapon to the back of her head. Crew ordered her to stop in a wooded area along Rosecrest Drive in Monroeville, where investigators said he killed her. The dashboard camera, which was recovered along a Penn Hill street, captured the moments leading up to Spicuzza's death. Crew's defense attorney argued the camera footage violates Pennsylvania's wiretap statute, which requires people to be notified they are being recorded. So slimy. Like you're his attorney. This is your job. Nothing against him, but man, he's not wrong legally. Or is he? On Monday, public defender Andy Howard said the Crew was not given notice that Spicuzza's dashboard camera was recording and his client never gave consent. I don't think any rational-minded human being would embark on this endeavor knowing they were being recorded. Howard said, actual knowledge is required by the statute. Slimy, but it's what he has to do. Assistant District Attorney Emma Strudel argued that it would have been clear from inside the vehicle that Crew was being recorded. So I like this clap back. The dashboard camera, which had been mounted to the windshield, had 2 lenses, one that faced the roadway out and one that faced the front of Spicuzza's vehicle and one that faced inside passenger compartment. The camera also contained a display screen about 1.5 inches square that showed the camera view from outside the vehicle, as well as a smaller inset image of the inside of the car. Okay, she's building her case. It was clear that Crew knew he was being recorded, noting that he took the camera out of the car that night and threw it away. So there's no secret here. He got into the car, he knew it was recording, he saw it, right? That's a good response. He's watching himself being recorded, she said. Therefore, no notice has to be given. Brilliant, right? If she had a dash cam that didn't have a screen facing in as well that shows that you're being recorded, they might have had like a shaky defense to what this lawyer was saying. As part of the defense case, attorneys commissioned Christopher Borick to conduct a survey on the expectation of privacy for rideshare passengers who are Allegheny County residents. Borick, the director of the Muhlenberg College Institute of Public Opinion, testified that his study showed that majority of passengers do not have an expectation of privacy in a rideshare. Awesome. Out of 515 completed surveys, Borg said that 62% of respondents expect to be recorded in rideshare. In addition, 77% of those who answered questions said they believe the driver should provide notice to the passenger that they are being recorded. Ooh, so it's like, yeah, I there's a reasonable expectation that I'm going to be recorded, but you should let me know. So that can be middle ground. The defense is also trying to suppress the statement Crew gave to police during a recorded interview 4 days after Spicuzza was killed. I want to know what that is. Please tell. I'm going to copy and paste this just in case they don't actually tell. Crew went to Penny Hills police station that night with his girlfriend. I believe she's initially in on it. There we go. Was initially detained on outstanding warrant from the Northern Regional Police. And let it be known, Crew is a convicted felon, should not be possessing a gun. The warrant on charges accusing him of illegally trying to buy a gun was based on the premise that a 2015 juvenile case against him made it legal for him to buy guns. Okay, if he's a juvenile, that might. But Crew was never educated delinquent on the robbery count and, as a result, was not prohibited from making the purchase. The defense said because the warrant was never valid, defense attorney said Crew should never have been detained. So they're saying it was a gun that he legally bought, is what they're saying, I think. As a result, was not prohibited from making the purchase. It looks like he bought the gun and he wasn't prohibited from it. Okay, fine, whatever. And she said Crew voluntarily went to the police station when investigators said they wanted to talk to his girlfriend about the Uber ride she'd ordered from Spicuzza. Interesting that he would give himself up. He came in on his own. The detectives weren't trying to blow smoke over his eyes. Here's how Uber is handling the civil part of this, right? It's kind of disgusting. Makes me feel slimy. Uber seeks to move case surrounding murder of driver to arbitration rather than court. They should just take the L. Take the L up front and in public. Pittsburgh. Uber has argued that wrongful death litigation brought by a Pennsylvania woman concerning the murder of her daughter, a driver for the rideshare service who was held up at gunpoint and killed by her passenger, should be resolved in arbitration and not in a court of law. The estate of Christina Spicuzza initially filed a suit in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania on September 7th versus Uber Technologies. At the time of her death, Christina Spicuzza, 38, had been driving for Uber for approximately 1 year and lived with her fiance and 4 children in Turtle Creek. On the night of February 10, 2022, Ms. Spicuzza left her home to drive for Uber in a Nissan Sentra that she rented through Uber's vehicle marketplace program. Neither the Nissan Sentra nor any of the vehicles available from the Uber vehicle marketplace contain any safety devices to protect Ms. Spicuzza from her passengers. That same night, Calvin Crew, a 22-year-old man with a significant history of felony convictions and an outstanding warrant at the time of the Uber fare, and illegally in possession of a loaded handgun, asked his girlfriend, Tanya Mullen, to order him an Uber ride to take him from his home on Brinton Road in Pitcairn, Pennsylvania to Pershing Street in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania. A little before 9 p.m., Ms. Mullen ordered Mr. Crew an Uber ride using the Uber account and paid for the trip using her Apple Pay account. Uber faithfully matched Mr. Crew with Ms. Spicuzza. Within an hour and 15 minutes of picking up Mr. Crew, Ms. Spicuzza would be shot to death and her body left in a wooded area of Rosecrest Drive in Moorville, Pennsylvania. Despite ordering the Uber for Mr. Crew, not herself, and having the option to select Uber's request a ride for someone else feature, Ms. Mullen opted to order the Uber in her own name instead of Mr. Crew's name, entitling Mr. Crew to a sense of anonymity. As such, Ms. Spicuzza did not know Mr. Crew would be getting into her car that evening, as opposed to Ms. Mullen. On or around 9:15 p.m., Ms. Spicuzza arrived at Brinton Avenue and Mr. Crew appeared at the side of the car wearing dark clothing, a hood, and a face mask required by Uber due to COVID-19 pandemic, covering Mr. Crew's face where only his eyes were visible. Upon entering the vehicle, Ms. Spicuzza turned around and asked Mr. Crew for Tanya, but Mr. Crew did not respond and entered the vehicle. Mr. Crew was Ms. Spicuzza's first passenger ride of the night. The suit added that if Uber had properly equipped Ms. Spicuzza with passenger verification data, she could have been alerted that Mr. Crew was not the requesting rider and that he had a criminal history. And furthermore, if Uber permitted its drivers to decline passengers for any reason without incurring any penalties or loss or incentives, Ms. Spicuzza would not have felt pressure to allow Mr. Crew into her car. I can agree with that last part. The first part's a little shaky. I'm glad they're trying to make the strongest case possible. During the Uber ride, Ms. Mullen sent a text to Mr. Crew stating, "Whatever you're doing tonight, be careful." Oh, that's not good. Not good for her. Mr. Crew later responded, "I'm not going to jail if we get caught." Around 9:30 p.m., the car neared the destination. Ms. Mullen had input in the app, and Ms. Spicuzza's Uber app announced, "Drop off Tanya." Instead of exiting the vehicle, Mr. Crew produced a handgun, leaned forward from the back seat, grabbed Ms. Spicuzza's hair, and placed a handgun on the back of her head and ordered her to complete the trip. After Mr. Crew drew the gun, we just watched this. Mr. Crew then led Ms. Spicuzza into a wooded area where he proceeded to shoot her one time in the back of the head. Oh man, killing her. Man, that's upsetting. Mr. Crew then returned to Ms. Spicuzza's vehicle, put it in drive, and drove it back towards his home, leaving Ms. Spicuzza's body near Rosecrest Drive. Mr. Cruz then disposed of Ms. Spicuzza's cell phone, her car's dash cam, and her vehicle. The following day, February 11, 2022, Ms. Spicuzza's fiance, Brandon Marto, reported her missing because she never came home from work. He had not heard from her since she picked up a passenger around 9 p.m. That same night, at around 10:54 p.m., Ms. Mullen sent Mr. Cruz a message stating, "I'm not going to jail if we get caught." So this is something that looks like it was premeditated. On February 12, 2022, the police found Ms. Spicuzza's body. After a post-mortem examination, the police determined that Ms. Spicuzza died late Thursday or early Friday from a gunshot wound she sustained to her head, and further concluded that the manner of death was a homicide. An arrest warrant was later issued for Mr. Cruz, and the police apprehended him on February 17, 2022. That means she snitched. Mr. Cruz was charged by the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office with criminal homicide, robbery of a motor vehicle, carrying a firearm without a license, persons not to possess or use a firearm, and tampering with evidence. Mr. Cruz is currently facing the death penalty. The suit contended that had Uber applied its driver's background check procedures to passengers, used its massive data analyst capabilities to screen out dangerous passengers, permitted drivers to cancel suspicious fares without penalty, or simply provided basic safety features in Ms. Spicuzza's Uber-approved car rental, which that's fair. These simple and effective measures are readily available to Uber and could have saved Ms. Spicuzza's life. On October 31st, the plaintiff voluntarily dismissed the action without prejudice. So I guess there's an update on December 18th. It's just a statement. I don't really care.